Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And welcome to Questions, Coffee, and Cars. We do it twice a week. We're at 164. How do you get a question in?
Follow along on Instagram at Motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning, I put a post out asking for questions. Once we gather them, the post is deleted and we start the show.
Time now for Questions, Coffee, and Cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Hello from Prince George. I love all your reviews. And my question is, I currently own a Toyota Venza Limited. And as my family is getting bigger, I booked a Toyota Grand Highlander Hybrid XLE trim last year. I love Toyota, but the wait time is insane. I'm wondering if I should look for another 7 to 8 seater option. What are the best alternatives? And I would like better fuel economy and mostly hybrids.
Okay, well, the thing is, you've already put the wait time in.
Yeah.
I would just wait. I mean, what are they driving of what year Venza?
Doesn't say.
Yeah, so the Venza can't be that old. If you're wanting a hybrid 7-passenger vehicle, just wait for the Grand Highlander.
Yeah.
I mean, you've lived without it so far. Why would you throw in the towel? That's what I don't understand.
Wait times are long for this vehicle. I actually spoke to Toyota Canada about it, and they are maxed out at full capacity at the plant that is producing the Grand Highlander. And also remember, there was a stop sale. It had to do with the airbag. So they're just getting back on track now. So there is going to be a wait time for you. Look, I would wait for that, but there are other options. Not a lot. There's this Santa Fe hybrid, the new one.
I was just going to say, get the regular Highlander. Like, you could go to and get a regular Highlander hybrid, which is a 3-row, up to 8 passengers, and then drive it. And then when the Grand Highlander comes in, trade it in and switch to that.
Yeah.
And so you were on the Santa Fe. Yeah, that's one.
So you could do the Santa Fe, but there really aren't many hybrids that are larger like the Grand Highlander in this category. Really, Santa Fe is smaller than the Grand Highlander, but at least it's bigger than something like the Sorento hybrid or the Outlander plug-in hybrid. Now, the CX90 plug-in hybrid is an option, but that one has had quite a few reliability issues, so I don't want to recommend that to you unless you are fully up to speed and know about that.
So the good news is that my idea of maybe getting a Highlander now and waiting for a Grand Highlander is that their sales of the regular Highlander have gone down, and because people want the Grandie, the biggie. So maybe you can get that as a bridge.
I currently lease a Branco Sport and I really like it. I live in a city, Brooklyn, New York, and the Branco Sport is the right size for small streets and parallel parking, and sport mode really gets the job done on the highway. I love the boxy, rugged design and the cool factor of the Branco name. Unfortunately, the driver's seat is a bit shallow and doesn't adjust 8 ways. The armrests are also not in the best positions. I like when my elbows can be on both rests and my hands on the steering wheel at the same time. Any recommendations on a compact SUV with a little cool factor and deeper seat adjustments?
Well, the one thing I would suggest is maybe don't get hung up on the armrests being of equal height, okay? I would go back to the Ford store and see if there's a different trim that offers is there any trim that offers 8-way or no?
I don't know.
I suspect that there's got to be one in the family. And the other one is, that's a great choice for a place like New York where you have a lot of potholes and really uneven pavement. It just eats up the bumps. I get all of that. So what I would say is maybe go to the Ford store and see if they have something else. But it's trial and error for this kind of stuff.
Trial and error. And you know what? There aren't a lot of cool factor vehicles in the compact class. Mini might be an option. I'm not sure about 8-way power driver seat or not.
They just added power seats.
Yeah,
like
so
you
you'd have
couldn't
to
even
check
get a
that.
power seat until this current Countryman, but at least they've added it.
They've added it. Wrangler, but I don't know if you could get a 2-door, you could get a 4-door. I mean, the one that I really like is the Defender, but it's up there in price. I mean, it's well above your Ford Bronco Sport pricing.
I will honestly, I'm with you though. I think the Ford Bronco Sport has been a nice little sweet spot. In terms of reliability, it does get called out from Consumer Reports as being one of the more reliable ones.
Yep.
So go back to Ford, talk to the salespeople. You might have to go up a trim or two in order to get the better seats, but don't get hung up on the armrest.
They also updated the Ford Bronco Sport, and just double check that they didn't add that. I'm not aware of adding more adjustments, but you never know. Yeah. Any word on when the BMW 3 Series sedan is getting a redesign? Actually love the current model, but I feel like it's coming close to time for a whole new redesign. The 3 Series got a refresh in 2022.
I was going to say like 2 years ago, but it was a little nip tuck. It wasn't much.
No, and an all new one is supposed to be coming for 2026, according to Car and Driver, and there's going to be an EV version as well. So this is definitely something to think about. It is coming. Not sure what the design is going to be like. I actually like the current generation.
Well, I think I seem to see that some lines, they don't make them look as ugly as others. Like the X5, they just kind of left it alone, and it looks normal on the outside. So that's good news. Maybe I'm just going to say one thing. We were fortunate enough to go to a European car launch with Mercedes-Benz, and the guy that sat next to me was the head of exterior design for Mercedes. And this guy, I asked him a lot of questions, and I asked him his thoughts on BMW design, and he said, just, hold my beer, because they have changed designers, and all the cars that you see now that are really, in my opinion, not attractive, that's all the old administration, and there's new people, and we're going to start to see new BMW designs. And of course, that's a competitor. He knows all these people, and they're all pals from years ago. But he basically said, just wait, BMW will change things up.
Hello from Windsor, Ontario. Love your channel. I currently own a 2017 Civic 1.5T and a 2022 BRZ manual. I'd like to trade them both in for a fun manual car with 4 doors. What would be your recommendation? I don't track my cars, and it would be for commuting. Acura Integra Type S, GR Corolla, Civic Type R, or even a Civic SI would be sufficient.
Okay, so what were the choices again? Were the
Integra Type S, GR Corolla,
Civic Type R,
or the Civic SI.
Oh, the Civic Si is the value choice for sure, but it's only available in a sedan and a manual transmission, which is what you want. Have you tried the new WRX? That's a good choice as well. But let's do a 3, 2, 1. I think we're going to end up at the same spot. I know what Andrea's going to say, or should I just say what you're going to say?
Go ahead.
Integra Type S.
Oh yeah, hands down, because the Integra Type S is quieter than the Type R and even the SI. Don't get me wrong, I like both of those vehicles, but you're just going to find that the Integra is just more, I don't know, I want to say, mature, grown up compared to the others. I really like it, and I think that you would like it as well, and it's got a lot of space.
The thing about the GR Corolla, it's still a Corolla on the inside. Like, you're going to spend all of that money for a fun little car, and then you get in it and you're like, oh, it's still a Corolla. And a Corolla is a great economy car, but it certainly should look better than it does at that price point, which you do get a slightly better interior in the Integra over the Honda. But the SI really is the value play. Or get a WRX. The WRX new one, I like it. I think it's grown on me. A lot of people didn't like all the plastic cladding on it, but I think it's fine.
Integra Type S for me, 100%. But one day I may own one.
Yeah.
How about that, Zach?
Okay, so the other thing I just want to throw in there, so you live in Windsor, Ontario, and the roads are not great because you get all the potholes. A WRX is going to do a better job of eating all that up, and you've got the all-wheel drive versus an Integra, an SI, or a Civic Type R that are all front drivers. You would kind of miss that, I think.
Hello from Ottawa. I was wondering if you've had a look at the new redesigned Audi A5. Is it wise to avoid this one for a year until the kinks get figured out, or will it be essentially the same platform? We haven't seen it in person.
No, we have no contact with Audi Canada at all. Their PR person, Court Nielsen, doesn't communicate. They have a press fleet in Toronto of a few cars, but they don't have a press fleet in Montreal. They don't have a press fleet in Vancouver.
Nope.
They only host a handful of Ontario media for events. They really don't do anything outside of the greater Toronto area.
No.
I think it's a fail on the part of Audi Canada and Audi in Europe to not support the media in Canada. I think that it's all great when you're selling every car you've got, but when things don't go swimmingly, sometimes you need to get people in front of your products. but that's the way they want to run their business. So we haven't driven it, and we probably won't. So there you go.
No, and there's a lot of new models coming out. And you're right. I just want to comment on reliability. I would definitely wait on a first year with an Audi to make sure the kinks get ironed out. I like black cars, but they show so much when they get dirty and chips after a while. What can I do to keep the paint cleaner and looking as new for longer? Ceramic coating.
Yeah, there's two things you can do. You can have it ceramic coated, and then you can do the protection film on the front for the chips. So the chips are annoying, but really that's the way. But this is all expensive. Like if you're going to get the protective film on the front of the car and the mirrors and the stuff that gets abrasion from road, things getting kicked up from the road, that's going to be $1,000, $2,000. Then the ceramic coating's another $1,000. And the ceramic coating you have to do, not redo it every year, but get it retouched up. So it's an expensive thing, which is why maybe don't buy a black car.
We've had a black car.
We've had too many black cars.
The problem with black cars, they look great when they're clean. I mean,
for 30 minutes.
Fabulous. But they get dirty quickly. You're right. I mean, we actually used to own an Audi, an A7. It was like a dark chocolate
We had two
brown.
BMWs that were black.
Yeah.
We had an Audi that was black. I had a 911 that was black. I had a 911 that was dark burgundy, essentially like black.
Yeah.
And I'm done with that now. I'm done. I'm at the point now, because I'm the one who cleans the cars. We have a Pomelo yellow GTI. Doesn't show any dirt.
No.
You cannot wash it for
We have
weeks.
a white Cayenne that we're sitting in. Doesn't show any dirt, really.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
New S5 or M340i. I'm tired of driving an SUV and want a sedan. Which one is better? Well, going back to the Audi issue, we haven't driven the new S5. I think that the BMW M340i looks great. One thing I find about BMW versus Audi is the steering's a little bit heavier with BMWs. I find Audi steering to be very, very light. I don't know about this new S5, if they've made the steering a little bit heavier, but for me personally, because of the way that the 3 Series drives, I would probably go with BMW myself.
It's all the engine. It's all the inline six. Just do yourself a favor and buy a BMW with an inline six and enjoy it, because that's really the secret sauce they have.
Yeah.
And that's really why we recommend them all the time, is really because of that inline 6-cylinder engine. And it's just so good. And if you drive it on the highway and you're not crazy on the throttle, you can actually get really good fuel economy out of it. And that's their ace in the hole. That's really what they have. They have that engine.
Heard Ford is discontinuing the Escape Hybrid. Meanwhile, Japanese and Korean car makers are selling hybrid SUVs like crazy. Why would Ford drop their SUV hybrid and miss out on such a lucrative market? Do the North American car makers have anything to compete in the compact hybrid SUV segment?
Well, I would suggest you watch this space. I really can't believe that the Escape is such a well-known nameplate from Ford.
Yeah.
The hybrid and the plug-in sell well, along with the regular gas. It's one of their best-selling vehicles. Why they would blow it up? Maybe they're going to bring something with a new name, I wonder. But yeah, I just can't believe that they would kill one of their most recognized nameplates.
Well, first off, this isn't confirmed by Ford. There is a 2025 Ford Escape Hybrid available. Automotive News is reporting that, yes, at the end of this year, there will not be a Ford Escape Hybrid, but that isn't confirmed by Ford. And Automotive News is also saying that they're going to bring an Escape EV to market instead.
So maybe that's it. But also Jim Farley, who's the CEO of Ford, has said, last year, towards the end of the year, that they're going to have a hybrid in every line of product they have. So I would suspect, much the same way that Porsche did with the Macan, they were saying, we're going to switch to the Macan EV, and that's the new Macan. And then they're like, wait a second, we're going to continue making the gas one, because that's really where the sales are. I just can't imagine that Ford would blow up that nameplate and go full EV. They're reading the room, and they know that hybrids are selling. They probably have good sales because of it.
Totally agree.
That would be my guess.
I just don't believe Ford's going to get rid of it. And like I said, it's not confirmed anyway. Big fan of your channel. With EVs being less in demand, will Honda, Acura pull a Toyota move and introduce more hybrids? Tried searching it out online, but can't find anything saying so.
Well, just before you jump in, we did have dinner with the executives from Buick, Chevrolet, and Cadillac last week. They were here for the auto show, and we had lunch with them, and we asked them a lot of questions about hybrids. They weren't giving us any information about future product technology, but they heard from us loud and clear that yes, they've got an aggressive EV portfolio, especially on the Cadillac side, but we said there's still an option there for hybrids, and we gave them that message loud and clear. So the last question asked about other domestics. Ford is the one that's best positioned to have a hybrid, and they do that with the current Escape. So back to Honda.
Okay, so Honda has some hybrids. Yes, they could add more. Of course, we'd love to see a Pilot, an HRV. The Prelude is going to be a hybrid. The new one coming. As for Acura, well, we were at the Acura ADX event, and I got in front of the president, and he had a translator. And basically, they came out and asked me, do you really think it would make a difference to our portfolio to add hybrids to the Acura lineup? I said, 100%. It would change your business. And they were like, really?
I don't understand why they don't just drive to the auto mall and look at how many Toyotas and Lexus are being sold with hybrids. It's like over 50% of their products, and they have the most SKUs of any brand, are now what they call electrified. I mean, don't they read the room? I think that there was a product planner from a Korean brand who basically said, oh, hybrids are just sort of older buyers want hybrids. And I said, no. I said, there's a lot of younger people who are buying their first car who live in condos and apartment buildings. They can't have an EV. There's nowhere to plug it in. So a hybrid makes sense because it's not much more to buy it. You get good savings and, reduce your footprint on the environment, and you don't have to plug it in.
And then I spoke to the Acura PR team about this too, man. I was floating around the room like really pushing hybrids, and I did the same with Nissan when we were there as well. And they won't confirm whether something is coming, but speaking to the president, they were asking a lot of questions and if it would make a difference to their portfolio. So I hope they listen, and I hope that they bring one out, because if that ADX had come out with a hybrid, they would have been everybody would have been happy about that.
Yeah, I think that all of these companies are readjusting because there's also, the Trump administration is in the United States. They've made a lot of claims about EV mandates. The previous administration, the Biden administration, had changed the EPA regulations to include hybrids towards credits for electrification. And I think that's what we're going to see across the West, instead of hitching to one horse, which is electrified, because we now know time has passed enough where that doesn't work for everybody. And the prices are way too high for a lot of buyers, that they're going to have to include hybrids in the carbon calculations that they have if they want to get to reduce carbon emissions. So they're going to have to include hybrids in the calculation.
Hello from Winnipeg. Would you rather purchase a vehicle outright or finance it? We've done both. We've leased. We've purchased it outright. One great thing I feel about leasing is it's a 3-year test drive or a 4-year test drive. And, if you don't like it, you can just give it back, or if you have problems.
Just straight numbers here. If you have the money to buy a car, we'll pick, the average car is $40,000 to $50,000 now. If you've got $40,000 sitting in an account that you can go and buy a car with, and then that car maker is offering you 1% interest to purchase the car, then put your money to work and don't use that money in a depreciating asset. We did that with the Miata. We got an MX-5 Miata, and we were just about to score the check. And then we looked online, and it was like, was it 1.5% interest?
1.5%.
It was 1.5% interest. That money can be used for, even if you just stuck it right now in a regular savings account, the money is going to make more than you're going to spend on the interest. We did it over a short term. We did it over 36 months. But if that's the situation you're in and the car you're interested in has low interest rates, use their money.
No, the GTI, we bought it outright because that didn't work very well for leasing. Their interest rates were higher. But with Mazda, it felt like, it was kind of like free,
Well, they also had money on the hood.
Such a low interest rate.
Yeah, so they had low interest rates, and they had money on the hood because it was the end of the season.
Smoking good deal.
It was a smoking good deal. All right, Andrea, speaking of smoking, looking good over there in your leather jacket.
Thank you. I went with, I'm trying to be more spring light, but
the weather is not playing along.
so much rain here.
I'm ready.
We're sick of it.
I'm so done with the Vancouver weather. All right, so how do you get a question in?
Follow along on Instagram at motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning, I put a post out asking for questions. Once we gather them, the post is deleted, and we start the show.
Thanks for watching.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.